It's like the earth is on my shoulders, kind of strange. Too many bad things on my mind, but now I can feel it. Fuck, I need it. It's been easy since you came around.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for clicking on my video. I get like 10 or 15 DMs a day on Instagram asking like how I edit my videos and what I use. So this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how I go through the process of editing one of my Instagram videos, specifically my most recent one. I said it in the description that if you guys want me to kind of show you how I did this, and a bunch of you said yes. So that's what we're doing. So this is gonna be optimized for Instagram, not YouTube. Before we get into that, I'm gonna assume that most of you guys are from my Instagram. If you're not, please check that out. It might raise my level of credibility. I don't know, but this is how I edit my videos. Not saying it's the right way, but I do think that you guys should do this because I've spent thousands of hours on this program, specifically Final Cut Pro. Before we start, I feel like it's only appropriate to talk about the camera and the settings that I use, because I feel like my videos are so unique because of the camera I use, which is the Canon 1DX Mark II, which is what I'm filming with right now. I shoot all of my videos in slow motion, 120 frames per second. Now, if you don't have a camera that can do that, I would say try to pick the highest frame rate. Never slow down footage that is 30 frames per second, which is like real time. You can't stretch that out. I mean, you can, but it's just gonna be, it just doesn't look very good. That's like one of the biggest mistakes I see people do. A big problem I see people have is when they're downloading their clips from their camera to their computer, they are either transcoding it or converting it to some other weird format. Don't do that. Final Cut Pro is really good at recognizing different types of files. Just go ahead and download it to a folder on your desktop. But I say that you should get an external hard drive and keep all your footage on there. That's what this thing is on the back of my screen. This is a 4 terabyte Seagate drive. I have like 3 of these now, and that's like 12,000 gigabytes, which I can go through that in a couple months. But when I first started, I was actually pretty scared to edit off of one of these things. I thought it was just weird and setting it up would be hard, but it's actually no big deal, and it takes a lot of load off your computer. So it just makes everything faster and it's safer in a way. In a perfect world, you would back this up to a different one. I don't do that for most of my stuff. I only do that for like intense or big projects I do that for, but for the most part, it'll probably be fine. We're gonna get into actually editing inside Final Cut Pro. For most of my time spent in this program, it was on my 2011 MacBook Pro, editing on a really old version of Final Cut Pro. I now have a 2017 MacBook Pro editing on the current version of Final Cut Pro. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that your level of efficiency or proficiency, whatever that word is, that it's like medium or maybe just below medium. If you don't know anything or if you know a lot, I'd say this video is probably still gonna be useful for you, so don't tune it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and close my library. So it's gonna open up blank. Okay, so just getting started, basically how Final Cut Pro works really fast. There is libraries and there's projects, there's events, and there's something beneath that, but we don't need to know that. So I would like to say that you wanna have a library for like every month of the year. Depends how much you're shooting, obviously. You kinda wanna break it up just to, so your computer doesn't have to load everything when you open up a library. We're gonna go ahead and make a new library file, new library. And now when I do this, it's gonna ask me to name it, obviously, and then it's gonna ask me to save where. So we're gonna do this like, we're just gonna name it TDZ. And where. Now this is where if you have an external hard drive, which I totally recommend you doing, you're gonna click that and you're gonna save it to there. All right, so now we have a library, literally just that easy, super simple. But now most people are like, how do I start editing? Okay, well, you have to make a project. Project's like a subcategory of a library. This is super simple stuff. It literally kind of gives you it in, not even in order, but whatever. So project, TDZ again. Now you can use automatic settings. When you drop a clip into the timeline, it'll like automatically adjust the timeline to the exact settings you filmed in, but we don't really want that because we film this in 120 frames per second. We want 1080p, 1920 by 1080, which is kind of the long rectangle. And then I want the frame rate to be 29.97. This is kind of a controversial thing because in my last tutorial on how to upload to Instagram, I said 24, but I think 30 gives you a smoother overall feel to the video. So I have been recommending everyone do this. And you keep everything else the same. In event, yeah, it could do whatever it wants. So there we go. We have everything ready. We're ready to edit. All right, so you can see up here is our projects and libraries. I like to go ahead and close that, which this was not in the older versions of Final Cut Pro, but it's basically this thing up to the right. A huge mistake, I don't know if it's even a mistake, but just something that I don't do, is people will go into File and then import their footage through Final Cut Pro. I don't do that at all. It's just, I don't like how it looks, I don't like how it works. It just seems very dysfunctional. What I do is I go into wherever my footage is stored, because I already put it to my hard drive before I start editing, because I don't want to edit off the camera. I'm going to go in to my external hard drive, and it's under Brooke, because that was one of the girls' names. Now I don't know why there's X's up here. I've never seen it before. But anyways, I took pictures while we were shooting this, so I want to just view the pictures. So I have pictures up top, videos down below. We're going to click Show All. We're going to highlight everything that I shot. And then we're going to go ahead and drag it down into the timeline. Now this is going to lag a little bit. It might not like it at first. It might just not be there. We're going to let it do its thing. If the spinning wheel of death doesn't go away, we just let it sit. And sometimes it won't do it and you just kind of drag it over again, then it works. This time it worked first time, which is cool. And as you see here, it actually automatically imported the footage. So that's where the footage would go if I were to import it through Final Cut Pro. So it just seems like an unnecessary step. I like to just drag it all into the timeline, because the proper way of editing in Final Cut Pro or iMovie is that like you go through the clips up here and you kind of select what you want, if you can see here, and then you drag it down. And that's just to kind of keep things out of your timeline, which helps out your computer. But again, we're editing off of an external hard drive, so it doesn't really mind it that much. I would say if you have over 5 hours of footage, you might want to break it up into different projects, but for this, it's totally fine. We have an hour and 40 minutes. I have some 4K 60 footage in here. I have mostly 1080, so this is already slowed down. My camera slows it down for me, which is dope. So once we got all of our clips in the timeline, we're gonna go ahead and add music. Normally we would wait for the clips to finish rendering, but you can see these dots up here, and you click on the I guess it's like a clock or whatever, and it tells you kind of what it's doing, and it's doing the 4K 60 clips, which I don't blame that at all. So now we want to do music. This is just kind of what I normally do. Sometimes even before I put my clips in the timeline, I go ahead and drop in the song, because I see the song before I film stuff. This kind of happens. Obviously for Instagram, we only have 60 seconds. We have to make the best of that. And I'd like to chop up my song as much as I can, mainly because Instagram will try to pick up on your song and say you can't post it. So if we kind of do our own little remix of it, their software won't pick it up. Also, I want to have like a beginning, a middle, and an end that includes a drop and then some slower parts. So I'm going to go ahead, I edit it all in Final Cut Pro. It's actually really simple. So I'm just going to listen through the song and figure out what I want incorporated in my video. So what I just did there was I figured out where I wanted to start my clip. It's right there. So I went ahead and I pressed Command B, and that's to cut. I'm going to actually just delete the beginning part. And I'll just skip through the song. And I really like this part. This is the drop, so this is fine, but I'm approaching 1 minute here, so probably at the end of the drop, I'm gonna add or take a part from the end. So like right here, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the end and just take this back part of it, the caboose, and then just delete the middle. So it doesn't sound perfect. I'm obviously gonna mess with it a lot to make it sound right. Basically just find the right part in the song where it'll match up perfectly. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and get back to you. So just give me 1 second. All right, so I actually ended up making 3 cuts in this song. If you can see here. I had it start really slow, but there's no cuts going in here. And it actually continues all the way to the drop, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that's actually a cut, that's something else I did. But then I'd over here. And then all the way to the drop, or the end. And that's it. So I basically just took the beginning portion of the song that I wanted and then just took a piece from the end, and then it was really that simple. It's not that difficult. Sometimes it's really labor intensive and I'll spend like a whole day just editing the song. Now that we have this song, I can kind of listen to it and feel out the places that I can just picture the video in my head. That's normally what I do. You know, I mean, I could just take this massive clip and then call that my video, but you know, I mean, I need cuts and stuff. So this is what I do. This is probably the most time-consuming part of editing, is I go through all of the clips and find the best. I call it the good clips. So I start from left and work my way right. I have an hour and 42 minutes to get through. But again, you're gonna scrub through it, I guess. So for example, I'm gonna start right here. Kind of zoom in a little bit, and I'll get my hand on Command B, so I'm ready to split it. So right here, this is kind of cool, whatever, she's cute. Go ahead and Command B it. Now I just cut it in the place where I want it. One on the left, one on the right. So I want this. Now I could just take it and bring it right over to my timeline and then just call it a day. But I don't necessarily feel a connection with this clip at the moment in time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take it and drag it above. Okay, now we're just gonna keep going. This little jump's cool. I wanna be pretty conservative with this because I can always go back and stretch it later, which is really cool. This is 4K 60 footage. I don't know what they were doing here. I don't really care for any of this. So this is cool right here. They're them running up to this staircase here where they're trespassing. So I kind of want this piece right here. I'm not gonna go through all of this, just real quick. I'm gonna show you kind of my thoughts. This is cool, but you can kind of see her phone get stuck and it kind of looks weird. It jiggles. That's cool, but I'm looking for bangers, like just 100%. It just looks too cheesy. So we got Playhouse Square Set. Now this looks cool. What I try to do, huge tip from Bill, tips from Bill. Is always get the sun behind your subject. It just looks so much better. Never shoot with it directly sunlight on the face. Doesn't look very good. Behind, it's key. So this is really cool. Her going under it. So I'm just gonna take this piece right here, and this girl too, because I don't know which one I'll connect, but I think she kind of stops, or it's not very fluid or something. Yeah, the focus goes off of her and goes onto the fence. So you can see here, I'm just going through and I'm grabbing clips that I kind of want. I probably won't use this, but you know what? I'll go ahead and take it anyways. I just grab it and I throw it up. That's all I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through all of these clips and find the best, okay? All right, so I really briefly went through the clips just to find, you know, the best, because I already actually have them. I've already edited this video once. Basically, when I zoom out, I just use my fingers, and you can see all the clips above. Highlight them all. This is a really big tip. I could just highlight them all and then drag them over to my song, but they're all spread out. So to get them together, what I'm gonna do is zoom in on the first one that's highlighted, and I'll just grab it and then bring it down in between a space on the bottom timeline. And what it'll do is it'll push all the clips together. Super dope. And now I have all my glue clips right here, but I don't want them right there. I want them as far left as possible. I actually kind of missed a few over here. So I'll go ahead and highlight those, zoom in so I can grab it, and then bring it down. So boom. Now we have all of my good clips right here, and then all of my extra to the right. And I like to keep them spaced so there's not just a video, I don't get it confused. So this is another huge tip, is if you right click on a video that's on the bottom timeline, not the top, it has to be the bottom, and you click lift from storyline. Now when you do that, it'll create this black box, and you can just take the clip from above, drag it to the right. Now you have this black space, which is super handy. You can use it for so many different things. You can go ahead and split it a couple times, bring it over. I guess you can't bring it above, who knew? But this is good if you need like a space for something. For example, if I wanna like help this clip kind of be different, I can do this. because I normally couldn't do that. If I were to, if I would have it like this, it would kind of do something like this. And now when I have this black box, I can put clips above it and not have to worry about it. So super, super easy little hack right there, Final Cut Pro, which I don't know why they don't use that more. So now I have all my good clips right here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my real good clips. Okay, so this is kind of where it gets fun, because you're kind of just painting a picture, I feel like. This is your blank canvas over here to the left, which is your song. Then over here you have your paint. Zoom out, I have my extra clips over here I can always go to, or then I have my good clips over here. This is where it gets fun. I like to go ahead and listen to the song a couple more times just to kind of feel out where I want my clips to go. If I'm having some type of like brain dead, moment, what I'll do is I'll go over to my clips and find my favorite clip, the one that like I'm just blown away by, and I'll grab it. Let's say it's this one, these fountains. I'll grab it and bring it over to my timeline and just find a place where this thing will go. Right here seems pretty cool. So it kind of lagged a little bit because it's still rendering, which is okay. In a perfect world, you let this render for like 5 minutes and then everything will run back smoothly. Sometimes the drop of the song is like the easiest to edit, and sometimes it's the hardest. So you kind of just work with what you have, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but I try to have the video correlate with the song. I mean, as much as that makes sense, but it kind of like the song normally has like this vibe to it, and you kind of have it match with what's going on with the video. Them walking, that's pretty mellow, so I know it's going to go to the left. So I'll go ahead and grab a couple of clips that are them just walking and bring it over to the left. Like this clip, definitely the slower parts. And then if I get sick of that part, I'll go ahead and find some action ones, like her running and her feet. Like these three right here. These are perfect. And I'll bring them over to the drop. And it's just that easy. You kind of, obviously everything goes to the beat, but you can't have everything go like so strictly to the beat. You have the bass beat, then you have like the kick or snare and kick, whatever you want to call it. Like you can kind of see there, like this is kind of a longer one. It's to the snare, but it's not. This one's not to the snare. So you kind of gotta mix it up. I mean, you don't have to. That's the thing. You can do whatever you want. It's your video, but it just kind of gives a different vibe. If it's like always to the same beat, it kind of gets a little predictable. And this kind of just mixes it up, and it's like a whole different vibe. I never actually realized me doing that until someone pointed out. It's like I like how it's like on the off beats and the on beats, and I'm like, what? I always thought it was the beat, but no, apparently I do it differently. So for the most part, my videos are actually really straightforward. Like there's no crazy effects. I honestly don't do any color grading like all of this. Like you might think, oh, I love the colors, the skin tones are amazing. This is just right out of the camera. That's why Canon is known for its Canon colors, is because they're just amazing. Sometimes the clips will kind of be a little off. I don't know if I can actually find one, but it's mainly just the white balance was just a little bit whack. Maybe this one per se, it's in the dark and it doesn't really match the other clips. So what I might do, I might just go ahead and go into show color board. I might mess around with these little colors and kind of just warm up, the mid-tone, just like that. Like very subtle. I don't do anything crazy. I mean, I feel like it just ruins your quality if you just crush the blacks or, put blues in the darks and stuff like that. People really get caught up in it and they think that it looks amazing, but I'm just not into that. Especially if you're shooting at sunset. Like for example, this clip right here. Look at the background. Hold on, I lost it. Look at the background. Like it's already color graded. That's how it literally looked. Is you got the reds and the highlights. Obviously, I can go in here and spice that up and really, over dramatize, if that's a word. Do it some of that. But I don't really want to. This one. The whites are kind of blue, so I might mess with that to get the whites white, but most of these look really good. This one I was a little bit bright, but it ended up looking really, really good. It's directly into the sun. This one I would have shot this a little bit differently. I would have got closer to her hand. Same with these running, but I'll definitely use these in the drop parts. So it's just a matter of going through your good clips, which it doesn't matter how many good clips you find. Like normally I have a lot of good clips I don't use, which is totally okay. But you don't want to have too much. I try to keep it pretty small. And if you ever run out of good clips, you're like, man, I need something else. Just scroll to the right and find some more good clips. Just go through your footage again. I always go through my footage at least 2 or 3 times if I don't have enough. If I have enough, then I don't worry about it. So yeah, just go ahead, keep plugging away. One of the biggest tips I can give people is to kind of step away from your computer or step away from your editing software, because I always find that I'm more creative when I'm taking a lot of breaks. Like literally I will edit in Final Cut Pro for like 30 seconds, like just dragging one clip over and making it perfect if I'm stabilizing it or finding its placement. And then I go back to YouTube and watch like a 2-minute video on whatever, and I come back and edit some more just to kind of keep myself focused, and it gives me time to think about what I just made, or even overnight. Some typical things that I'll do to my clips is not really color grading like I went over, but I almost always stabilize clips. But for example, this right here, or even, I don't know, ever since I switched over to a glide cam, I really haven't had the need to stabilize my clips because they're really, really smooth. Like this, that's all right out of the camera. And I was just kind of, you know, being a boss with the glide cam. And this has no need for stabilizing, but this one might. Now you don't really see much. There's a little bit of wonkiness because I was filming this upside down the glide cam, and I basically can't see what I'm shooting. So I might go in and hit stabilize, which I actually already have, so whatever. But a lot of these clips are fire. Editing is so much easier when you have really good clips, so I think I might make a second video on how I set up my shots and what I do. I'm really good at capturing the moment, so that's probably what that video will be about, is just capturing what's happening. I really don't set up things. I'm gonna go ahead and work through this project and come back to you when it's almost done. So I'll be right back. So this is pretty much the video. I mean, again, it's just all about putting your clips to the music as what it would kind of vibe to it. So when like the song's slower, I just have clips of them walking, and then when the drop is, they're like running around and having fun. At the end, I have my logo. People ask about that all the time. My friend made my logo, but she kind of animated it for me, but I did put like a prism effect on it and also a stutter rollover. That's what that is in the beginning. And then I just recently put this on. You can kind of see there's like a little lens flare. That's new as of this video, and it just kind of gives a little effect, you know. And again, I try to keep this under 1 minute. You don't want it to be exactly 1 minute. Instagram will try to cut it, and then it'll like downgrade your quality. So have it like 59 seconds if you want to go that long. So when it's time to export this video, I've made a whole video about this, but I'll just give you a quick gist of it. I'm gonna go ahead and delete everything to the right, or in this case, I'm gonna actually select it all and then cut it so I can put it back if I want to make changes. All right, so I'm gonna select it all and cut it. So now I'm left with just my video. You want to make sure that when you selected it, it doesn't randomly select something over here, because that happens sometimes. And then when you're ready to export, you go over here to the top right hand corner and you're going to hit Apple device 1080p. And I was recommending people to use the faster end count, but I actually recommend doing better quality now, the H.264. And once you share that, it'll go into your iTunes library and then Dropbox it, or Airbox it, AirDrop, whatever you want to do to your phone. If you want to make a change to a video, before you make changes, make sure you just undo so you don't lose all of your extra clips. You could just make another project and put those clips there, but that's just kind of normally what I do. A huge tip I give people is like once you make your video, put it on your phone and watch it like a lot of times, and you'll kind of catch on to things that you need to improve on, little mistakes or just things you want to change. Sometimes I sit on the video for like a week or two, and if I want to change something, I have the opportunity to, because the worst feeling ever is uploading a video, then a bunch of people see it, but you want to change something. So make sure you're happy with the video before you hit upload. So that's pretty much it, guys. I can go more in depth again, but I think the next video I'm gonna come out with is gonna be like a how I shoot, because I'm really good at capturing the moment, and people ask me this like a lot. Hope this helps you, I don't know. If you want to leave a comment down below, I'd love to chat with you. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram. I get back to almost all of my DMs. Thanks for watching, guys. Follow me on Instagram, like this video. Thanks.